Today is December 6, 2013, and I'm here with the artist Vladimir Kranyk. Hi, Vladimir.
Huh.
Could you please outline for us how you got interested in art and talk a bit about your creative projects and how you ended up in Winnipeg?
Yes, certainly. I moved to Winnipeg from the Ukraine, where I lived from 1997 to 2007, about 10 years, and I went to high school and the school there in general. And I got into art by very sort of spontaneously. My classmates introduced me to graffiti art about in 2003, 2004, and I started doing it with them, and it became more and more of a hobby, and I was very obsessed with it. And then I didn't know much about art in general, but I was doing graffiti a lot, and when I moved to Canada in 2008, I continued to do it, and then when it became time to go to university or college, I thought what was the closest to what I was doing at that time, and I went to the School of Art, and here I started to learn more about painting and art in general, and started transforming my interest in graffiti into more serious occupation with painting in general, with oil, acrylic, etc.
So when you did graffiti art, you were spraying with actual cans of paint?
That's right.
And that's a very different feeling than using a brush.
Yes, very different. Yes.
Yeah. So
I find brush to be much more specific and precise and very, in many ways, powerful, much more powerful instrument. But of course, spray painting is suitable to some other needs that I can use even today. Still, like I still use spray paint sometimes on certain paintings that require that sort of effect that I want to achieve. But often-wise, I use oils mostly now.
Now the mural that we're talking about is a very long and very large mural. Some people might say that it's not such a large leap from doing graffiti. I'm assuming you did graffiti on buildings, maybe on train cars, I don't know, to doing a large mural painting. Can you speak a bit about that?
No, actually it's quite a huge leap from doing graffiti, because in graffiti basically even just on a very obvious level, like the level of detail and the level of planning and the sophistication is very, very different. Like while graffiti sometimes, especially legal graffiti, when you have lots of time to do it, you can have that planning part is big, but still it's nowhere as big as in this more like painting that I did in the tunnel here. And nonetheless, graffiti influenced, and the technique played a big role in this piece, because I was doing, like, as you know, this piece is 230 feet long, and it's very hard sometimes to do very long lines with the brush and to use just regular acrylic paint. So often-wise I would use the spray paint and tape and to do very long and smooth lines, or like very smooth transitions, or if I wanted to create a sort of very smooth blur in a big like blending, a very big blending, or like a transition in a very atmospheric sort of sense, like with transparent colors, I would need to use spray paint a lot. So graffiti influence, it still shows in this mural, but in terms of subject matter or in general sort of graffiti, it's not that. Yes.
Now the mural itself depicts many different scenes. You can almost maybe read it as a narrative. I noticed that there's a cathedral in the center of the piece, and it's kind of breaking apart with these tentacles, and then there's a light in the middle. Is that, I'm assuming, is the focal point of the mural?
Yes, it's a focal point of the mural. When I was starting to do it, I realized that the best choice for that very long wall and it's very untraditional shape, like I figured I would do something of a central composition, and that central composition connects to everything else that unfolds itself from the center towards the end of the tunnel. So at the center you can see this symmetrical big large central element, and this is very much where the mural sort of comes in. Like you can sort of guess the subject matter, that like this source at the center that sort of, you can see this like the spiral, and it's like it produces this energy that creates all these forms around it, and they unfold more and more, and they go from scene to scene in the narrative, and like they're all different, and they are continuously in motion flowing, but some are very specific and precise, some are very blurred, and then you can see they are in the movement. So it's all interrelated, and the whole idea of the mural is like this whole interconnectedness of like seemingly random elements, but at the same time they were all born of a single source. And Yes.
Does the dome have any specific significance? Was there a specific church you were thinking about that you know from your
I wasn't
past?
thinking
No?
any specific. Definitely was not thinking
No.
of any specific church.
But you like the shape of that
Yes, I
building?
like the shape of that, and then it's sort of as a metaphor, of the dome that was inspired by some paintings by Baroque artists, and even like the late work by Salvador Dali too. Like he has that. That symbolism of the dome and the universe unfolding itself in the dome, and some kind of nothing very specific, but just hinting at this ideas of like religion interrelated with the science and interesting things like this. I'm not yet advanced in that sort of the department yet, but I'm moving towards there. So it was very much of a process painting of the like way of thinking. Like you don't. There's no beginning and no end there. It's like, and like this tunnel too is almost no beginning, no beginning, no end. So it's you don't when you're at the end you don't see the beginning, and when you're at the beginning you don't see the end. So it's this kind of metaphorical play all the time going on.
So then, just to be on the record, it's not the dome at the legislative building here in Winnipeg.
No, even though the legislative building is a very interesting building.
Yeah.
It's I attended a lecture about it last summer.
All of the symbolism inside. No, I think of that too. Well, I mean, there's many references when you look at domes.
Yeah.
I have a question about the horse. I know there's a horse in the mural. Does it have any significance, or how did that horse get there?
Well, the horse appeared there out of a need of a figure development that I felt was required in the mural. And at the time I was looking at many different artists for influences and just sort of inspiration, because the wall is so huge that you need continuously to fool, like you need like, what am I going to do next? And yes. And Vasily Kandinsky, Russian artist, one of the first original abstract artists, like who started abstraction as an art form in painting. He often would still use some figure developments in his abstraction, and horse was a very important element for him, and it meant it had many different symbolisms in it, but one of the most important ones is the ascension of the spirit and this sort of the leap into the new world, something like this. And I felt that if I'm going to add a figure development in this sort of this context of this source of energy and this universal sort of movement and the variety of forms and things like this, I thought I would I was drawn to this element at the time, and I decided to add it there.
Yeah, and energy, as you said previously, seems to be a reoccurring theme in your work. It's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like ultimately the energy finds the way into my work all the time. It's because the ultimate urge to do art, I think, it's the energy that you have in yourself that you project into something. I think without the energy, without this sort of like the urge and this, you almost can't not do it. And I think this is the subject of the work itself, that the art without this kind of life energy is not possible. And the genuine sort of the impulse to do it, and this energy finds the work into the subject matter itself.
And you're putting your own energy into this work, and I think when the viewers walk by the mural, they can really feel that energy.
Yes, and you can feel.
I know I do.
You can feel it on so many different levels, like even in the motion of the elements, or the sort of energetic, like even the brush strokes you can see, and like in painting itself, like I think you inevitably transition that energy to the surface by even the fact that you apply the brush to the wall with different pressure on it, and you scrape the paint, you move around the paint, you put and then especially in such a big mural, it's very physical too. Like it's a physical energy. Like you have to stretch out your hand very far, and you work hard. Like you're almost working on something, not art, but like some kind of like you building something, you're making a table or something, like a physical job, like construction almost. Like you have to, like you're getting physically tired at the end of the day by doing such a big work. So energy comes into the mural on so many different levels. Yes, yeah. From physical to mental. Yeah,
because I was going to talk more about the scale, because I know, when I work on a smaller work, you tend to have smaller gestures and just the way you hold your brush, and then when you go to a larger, it really affects how you apply the paint, and you just alluded to that, and it makes me even think of the Sistine Chapel where Michelangelo lied there for 4 years, and the scale that he was working with as well. I mean, yeah, it can really change how you
Definitely.
apply the paint and how you depict the elements as well. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely agree. And at the same time, of course, the elements are going. If you have to make things much bigger on such a large scale.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wanted to keep the same kind of level of detail that I did in the smaller works, and that was very much of a priority, and that's what made the mural hard to do, because I want to still keep that preciseness very often, and that exactness and like the amount of detail that I used in the previous mural that I did, even though it was 10 times smaller. But yes,
Yeah, 10 times. I was guessing how much smaller. I thought 8, 9 times smaller.
oh, probably I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
It's probably 10 times, even though it's still big. But
it is.
yeah, but still, like I had to amplify some details. But still, I wanted to keep it precise and still sort of keep that level.
And how long did this mural take?
4 months, 4.5 months. Yes. Which I think is still not very long for the scale of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple thousand square feet. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your mural. I love walking by it every day when I walk to the gym.
You're very welcome.
Okay.